welcome to Positively Sparta. I'm your host, Nikki Morville. Today we are here at Station Park where it is the opening day of Little League Baseball, and I am here with the president of the Little League, Jane Bova. Jane, welcome. Tell me about this grand day here, tradition here in Sparta.
Thanks. We've actually not done an opening day for a few years, so it's really exciting that we're doing this again this year. We have a lot of fun things planned. The kids are going to march in the parade. The mayor is going to be throwing out the first pitch for us today, so we're really excited about that. And then we have, games going on. We have a fun zone. We're going to have food from Homer's. And so, we're really excited, and thank goodness the weather's starting to clear up.
Yes, the sunshine heard you today, Jane. So tell me, you haven't done an opening day like this, you said, in a few years. Why bring it back? Why bring this back into the community?
Well, we felt like as a board, we've been really kind of shorthanded for the last several years, and certain things have just kind of fallen by the wayside, and we felt like we really wanted to try to revitalize the program, get some more excitement going, and opening day can be a really fun event if it's planned correctly, and so we tried to do it a little later in the day so people aren't feeling like they have to be here at 8 o'clock and the weather's cold, and we wanted to really make it fun and just get people excited about baseball again.
So Jane, what do you have to say for the folks of Sparta about this whole program and why they should come out and support a day like today and the whole season, coming out and see the games and the kids?
Right. Well, it is America's pastime, and I know we have a lot of competition with other sports, and we support other sports. We're all for football, soccer, lacrosse, and all of that. But we really want to make sure that baseball has a presence in this town, and that we, are getting in as many kids as possible enrolled so that we can continue playing our games locally here. If we only have a few kids registered, enough to make maybe one team per age level, then those kids have to travel throughout our district in Sussex County in order to play games. And it's just really nice. Look at what a beautiful field we have. It's a beautiful park, and we want to keep our kids local, and they love playing with their friends, and that's what we're aiming to do.
All right, we've got some great folks here in Sparta. Well, on to another story, folks. Recently, parents were warned about the dangers of drugs and alcohol, and Jerry Morelli got a chance to see that story. Take it, Muggs.
Well, Nikki, thank you. The program is called In Plain Sight. The event was held at Sparta High School, where the stage was set up like a teen's bedroom, giving parents an inside look at where their son or daughter might be hiding drugs or alcohol.
Tonight's event is a really interactive way of getting parents up to speed on what's happening regarding substance abuse here in our county. We're trying to let them see all the different hiding spots and paraphernalia associated with drug use that they might want to be on the lookout for. We're not saying that all kids are using drugs. We are saying that there is cause for concern, and to be up to speed and up on what the trends are, what the signs, the symptoms, the lingo is really important for parents and caregivers and coaches and anybody that really cares about kids and works with kids.
What do you feel is the biggest problem in the county that's kind of running rampant? You hear stories about heroin. That's a very horrible drug, and it takes a lot of kids from us, whether they OD or they are hooked on it for years. What do you feel is the biggest problem right now in our great county?
We're seeing a lot of Narcan saves from opiate use, particularly heroin. We are also seeing a lot of overdose deaths. I think we definitely had 25 overdose deaths last year, and I think we have about 5 this year already. And while that's a big concern, when we're talking about kids, that's not what kids are using. Where kids really start is alcohol and marijuana. And the highest use we see is with alcohol. So we really try to educate parents about the science of the brain science and understanding that the earlier kids start, the much more likely they are to develop a problem and to use other drugs too. It really goes hand in hand, and especially too with marijuana. There's a lot. It's socially acceptable. We have medical marijuana in our state, legalized marijuana in a couple other states. People don't think it's as harmless as it is, they think it's harmless, and it really isn't. And so we try to educate them about that too. So marijuana use comes right behind alcohol, but those are the two big things that we see with our teens that have really big concerns, and particularly too when they're under the influence, they're at risk for doing many other risky behaviors, and that's what we try to educate about.
I would say the message is awareness, education, prevention and abstinence from drugs and alcohol, from using these drugs. It's hard as a parent to do that, but the effects of addiction are much harder. It's better to be dealing with preventing drug and alcohol, abstaining from drug and alcohol use, than it would be to try to overcome a serious drug addiction like we see all the time play out in the court system. Heroin addiction, alcohol addiction is very serious. So that would be the message: is get educated, be involved with your kids' lives, and keep them away from drugs and alcohol.
Even rural Sussex County, which is a great place to live, it's very safe up here. There's problems, obviously, there's problems all over the country with heroin. I guess one of the things is if someone gets hooked on it, it's very hard to come back and get off it and become normal again.
It is, and then heroin is very accessible and easy to obtain. People go down to Patterson and Newark, 40 minutes away, pick up down there, and are using heroin back up here. And it is a very powerful, addictive substance, obviously, and it's very hard to overcome that addiction.
Well, I think one of the things we really want to get across to the parents is that there's no such thing as not my child. It can be anyone's child. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter whether you're low income, middle income, high income. It affects all of the children. And what we're hoping to do tonight is just give the parents some pointers on some of the things that they should be looking for.
So as we told you, today is the opening day of Little League, and just a few weeks ago, Jerry Morelli was here checking out the fields.
We made a lot of changes this year. We approached the Sparta town, and they approved a lot of the changes. We made changes to the fencing. We made changes to a lot of the dugouts. We improved the drainage in the dugouts. We made a lot of grass changes. We made a lot of changes to the mound. We got a brand new mound right behind me on Field 6. It was approved from Little League International. We did a lot of improvements to Field 6. It really needed it. It was time to make those changes, and it's good for the kids.
Now, you say you guys approached the town. Obviously, you talked to town manager Bill Close, who likes to promote the town. He's an aggressive guy with marketing, and he's very proud of Little League here. How important was he to get this done? He's a great guy. He was the guy that we needed to approach, and he listened to everything, all of our suggestions that we wanted to make, and pretty much made every single suggestion he implemented. To improve the fields. We didn't only improve Field 6. We also improved Field 5, which is behind Field 6, behind the flag post. We put new clay on the infield. We also improved the drainage over there on Field 5 as well. First grade students from the Sparta Alpine School got a visit from members of the Sparta Police Department to teach the youngsters the value of calling 911 in an emergency situation.
Detective Haslock and I are going to be speaking at the Alpine School today to the first grade class about the 911 system, when to call, how to call, what information is going to be asked of them, and basic public safety information like that.
It's great to be here to educate the kids on 911, and hopefully they'll know next time that they call that somebody's going to show up, and that the important process that it is to call 911.
In other news in the Sparta School District, parents were very proud to see their young children on stage in a play called The Lion King, and it was a thrill for me to interview some of the cast members.
It's a little scary because it's my first lead role, but it's been so much fun because everyone's been helping so much, and it's actually pretty easy, and I love all my cast members. They make it so much easier just because I can always run lines with them when I need to. But it's been so much fun, and I've just been reading my script like every night trying to prepare.
Scar is a very sarcastic and cynical character who's a lot of fun to play in the show because I can really have fun with the role.
But it sure has helped me in my personal life, teaching me the values of teamwork, always being there for my team, and just never giving up. It's really taught me a lot and good values.
I play Mufasa. Mufasa is the king, and of course the king is very strong, and he has very high self-esteem, and he knows that he can do a lot of things. That's why he's just such a strong character. It's kind of hard to play them him because, I mean, sometimes you're not very strong, and he's always strong, so you kind of have to make sure you're doing that, or else you're not doing it right.
A lot of hard work. I have several student TAs from the high school who help me with managing the kids. We have about 65 kids in the cast. It's double cast to give enough kids the opportunity to participate, which I think is great, because I think it's important that they all have this experience. I see a lot of growth through the process, and it's a lot of fun to work with them. So I also have, like I said, I have high school TAs who help me. And they help with the choreography, they help with managing the kids, they do just about a little bit of everything, and they also do tech work. I'm the token adult in the process. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work, but it is a lot of fun, and I think that the product is valuable both to the audience and to the kids who experience it, so it's worth it.
Jerry Morelli wants you to meet a fine young man from Sparta who does so much for the community.
Meet Sparta resident Brad Erickson, a young man in his early 20s who has a full-time job and on the weekends is a Sparta dispatcher. If that's not enough, the young man is a captain on the Sparta Volunteer Ambulance Squad.
So I became a dispatcher when I was a sophomore in college. I've always wanted to be the dispatcher because I look at them as the unsung heroes. They're just this voice that you hear when you call 911 or on the radio. So I thought that was an awesome job and something I've always wanted to do. I looked at them as a conductor, like a conductor of an orchestra. For a major event like a huge motor vehicle accident or a house fire, they're the ones who conduct it and make it all come together, whether it be dispatching police, fire, EMS, from this town or the surrounding towns. They really make it all come together. So I thought it was a great job, and I was fortunate enough to be hired here at Sparta Dispatch.
And tell us how a day could be. I mean, it could be slow, then it could be hectic, then it could be hectic, then slow, so you don't know what's going to happen.
You don't, and that's the fun of this job. 1 minute you could be eating lunch, the next minute you're delivering a baby over the phone or giving CPR instructions, so you really never know what the day's going to bring.
Okay, if you're not busy enough, this young man, folks, is also the captain, a volunteer on the Sparta Ambulance Squad. Tell us how it all came about for you.
So when I was a sophomore in high school, I've always wanted to be an EMT on the ambulance squad, so I thought it was a great time. We accept members at the age of 16. So I went at the age of 16 to get my EMT certification and my CPR certification, and I was fortunate enough to be able to become a member on the Sparta Ambulance Squad.
Now, you also work full-time for Atlantic Health, right? You drive an ambulance for them?
I am a supervisor of the courier division.
So you work basically 3 jobs with all this. How do you manage all your time?
It's hard sometimes. My full-time job is at Atlantic. The ambulance squad is almost a full-time job within itself, and I work here at the Sparta Dispatch per diem, and I do that about every other weekend.
Brad is probably the most proactive individual I've known in many, many a year. He is totally dedicated to community service, having started out as an EMT, learning it when he was age 16, when most young people are doing anything but volunteering. Volunteering at the ambulance squad is very demanding because we have overnight shifts, and in the middle of February you can be bailing out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to take an ambulance call. He has won what we call the Roadrunner Award almost every year he's been on, and that's the individual who runs the most calls during the course of a year. So dedicated he is. He now still is doing dispatch work here at the Sparta Police Department. So he's quite a member of the Sparta Township family.
It may be warm today, but just last month, the Sparta Elks held their annual Polar Plunge.
This is our 6th annual Polar Plunge. We've been doing this on Lake Mohawk now, no matter what the weather. We've cut through 24 inches of ice last year. This year, as you can see, we have no ice. The water is still cold. It is to raise money for our Special Children's Committee. We use that money to fund a whole bunch of events throughout the years. We send children to camp, Elks Camp Moore. It's a great fundraiser. We had another one last night, comedy night. That packed the house, so things are good. Gets exposure to what we do as Elks. People hear about the Elks and they really don't know what we do. We're involved in so many different opportunities and so many different things, scholarships and veterans. The state's major project is Elks Camp Moore, and we support that wholeheartedly. That's where we send over 600 kids a year to camp at no charge to their families.
This next story is about a Sparta history class putting their stamp on history.
History students at Sparta High School have done something different. With decreasing survivors of the Holocaust, the students started a program called Adopt a Holocaust Survivor.
Mr. Brennan asked our History of Genocide class if any of us would be interested in meeting up with a Holocaust survivor. And a couple of us jumped at the opportunity to be able to do this. And we set it up through an Adopt a Survivor program. And we started rolling. We got emails saying who our people would be, who would be meeting up with, our Holocaust survivors would be meeting with. And then we all individually met with our survivors outside of school. So we went to their homes, and I met with Gerda Bakalis, and she was a Holocaust survivor. She was never in any camps, but she was on the run throughout most of the Holocaust. It was just a really great experience because it's an opportunity that we won't be able to take for much longer, since those people are they're in their elderlies and they won't be around for much longer. So we took it upon ourselves we're going to share their stories when they're gone, and we're going to keep their experiences alive, because it's really important that we got firsthand accounts from them. So I think that's really important.
When our history teacher, Mr. Brennan, initially presented the idea to our class, there were only a couple of people who ended up really going through with it. I ended up getting connected with two different survivors. The second one worked out. His name was Erwin Preifer, and he had a pretty interesting story. He actually traveled to the U.S. essentially before the Holocaust started, but ended up going back after he joined the army and fighting against the Germans himself. He was Polish, and so it was a pretty eye-opening experience. I didn't know that many people actually did that, so learning about that was a very interesting thing.
This is a project that we're doing in collaboration with a Jewish community organization called Metro West. And the idea, the purpose of the project, there's two purposes for the project. The first purpose is basically an academic purpose, where the generation of folks who went through the Holocaust, and at this point they're growing older, and of course they may not be around for much longer. So it has an academic purpose to create a historical record of the genocide of the Holocaust itself. So there's an academic value to it that exists on one hand. And on the other hand, it has a social purpose, which is to really kind of create a living memory of the Holocaust. Genocides have been happening for since time immemorial.
It's now time for the sports section on Positively Sparta, and we've got a big showdown with crosstown rivals Sparta versus Pope John baseball.
We go to Castles Field in Sparta for the latest rivalry game, and Sparta pitcher Cole Patton gets the Lions to go 1-2-3 with this strikeout to end the first inning. Bottom of the second is Ethan Guerrera sending this double down the line, and Sparta has a runner on second with one out. Next batter up is Cole Patton. He helps his own cause here as he rips the single to left, setting up runners here at first and third, and still just one out. The Spartans take a 1-0 lead here off the old Jeff Nelson fake to third throw, and first the pickoff attempt goes out of play as Guerrera scores. Bottom of the second in Pope John's center fielder Ryan Casey lays out and makes the great diving catch, robbing Cameron Stanislaw of the base hit. And Sean Roberts gets the strikeout here to finish a 1-2-3 inning as the Spartans lead 1-0 after 2 innings of play. Top of the third, and the Lions record their first hit of the game as Joe Millar lines this base hit into center, but he's left stranded and the score remains 1-0 Sparta. Bottom of the third, and Sean Roberts of the Lions is really finding his groove as he pulls the string and gets the 1-2-3 inning with the K on this nasty pitch. Top of the fourth we go, and with 2 outs, Hunter Silvernail is trying to start a rally for the Lions as he singles to left, but he's left stranded, and Sparta still has that 1-0 lead. Bottom of the fifth, and Pope John pitcher Sean Roberts is cruising as he picks up another of the 6 strikeouts on the day to finish another 1-2-3 inning. We move to the bottom of the fifth, and with Spartans on second and third and 1 out, Sean Roberts gets the big strikeout to keep the runners at bay. Those runs do cross the plate, however, as this ball is misplayed, allowing Eric Castorina and Eugene Jerome to score, and Sparta now has a 3-0 lead over their rivals after 5 innings. Top of the 6th we go, and the Lions try to claw their way back after a 1-out walk. Hunter Silvernail rips his double as Justin Provost comes around to score, and Pope John cuts Sparta's lead to 3-1. Bottom of the 6th we go, and after Cole Patton reaches on the error, Connor Coyle sends his towering blast to deep center field, scoring courtesy runner Eric Castorina as Connor Coyle hustles into third with the triple, and Sparta now has a 3-run lead, 4-1. Then after a hit batsman puts runners on first and third with no outs, Coach Sam Sablosian calls for the squeeze, and Jarrett de Blasio lays down the perfect bunt, scoring Coyle, and Sparta has a 5-1 lead as we go to the top of the 7th. And the Lions go 1-2-3 as Sparta relief pitcher Connor Dick induces the 5-3 groundout as the Spartans take round 1 of the Battle of Sparta with a 5-1 win over their American Division rival Pope John as they improve to 2-1-1 on the season.
Recently at Sparta High School, head coach for softball Rick Poots reached his 300th win.
And that was one game ball I wanted to get, and one of our kids had gotten a home run, McKenna did, and I grabbed the other one quick, and I was telling them why I wanted that one. Some of them looked at me like, what's he talking about? That type of situation. But the big thing is, like we've talked about, I said the 300 wins, I said, that's really great. And they said, well, you won. I said, no, I didn't do anything. I just happened to be the coach of this organization.
It was an awesome landmark to be a part of. It's something that, as a player, you don't really get to be a part of every day. It's a unique experience that not many coaches have and not many players are able to be a part of. So it was really an honor to be part of this program and help Coach get those 300 wins.
Courtney McKenna and Gretchen Bowie, 2 four-year starters on this Sparta team, praised Coach Poots, and they were excited to be part of his 300th win.
And I'll never forget when we walked into the gym my freshman year, it's the annex gym for tryouts. It was a very surreal kind of moment because it was actually happening high school softball. It was the big deal. I remember watching the 2011 team when I was younger. And so then it did help because I had some friends that were upperclassmen, so they kind of calmed me down a little bit going into the tryouts. But then I'll never forget the moment when Poots came up to me and he's like, okay, you made varsity. I was I'm proud because you're a freshman, so this is going to be new. So ever since then it was kind of good. And then Poots has helped me build my game because like Courtney said before, he is a man that doesn't exactly say a lot, but when he does, it's actually very meaningful information. So that's always a good part. So
it's been an awesome experience to be under him as a coach for 4 years. I've learned a lot just being under the success that he's had and being under such a successful coach. It's truly an honor to be able to learn and to grow under his coaching style.
Then the magical year of 2011, what a run through the playoffs. Mary Kaczynski was red hot, big home runs against West Milford and Chatham. Sam Griner pitching. She also had a big home run against Chatham to get them to file. And then they knock off defending state champ Middletown South. It was a memorable run.
Well, that was tremendous. I mean, we had a lot of close games to get to that point. Kids played well, timely hitting, obviously, with Mary and Sam, and Mary really stepped up. She wasn't on the mound as much as I'm sure she would like to have been, but boy, her bat was present, and then Sam with hers, and obviously Sam's pitching, plus the rest of the team played great defense, timely hitting. And the kids were mentally tough. They were determined. They were going to win that thing no matter what. We had practices the day after the prom and all that stuff, and it was a great group of young ladies.
Bob Leach, the head football coach at Sussex Tech, recently brought in a pro player from the Jets to talk to the youth football around the county.
A wonderful man by the name of Broen. He actually became a family friend to my family, my mother specifically, through unfortunately some unfortunate circumstances where he was undergoing some treatments for cancer at Sloan Kettering Hospital, and my aunt, who was battling cancer at the time, was going through her treatments as well. So our families kind of intertwined at that point, and we kind of found out all the good things he's doing in this community and all around the Northeast, and I just want to get involved in whatever I can and the good things that he's doing and just kind of ride his coattails. And he brought me up here to talk to some of these young men.
What are you going to talk about tonight, Mike?
Just my career, my journey, the up and downs of the game of football and how it translates over to the game of life. And it's it's a tough game. It's a beautiful game. It's hard. But the most important things that you take away from it are the things that you're going to transfer over into your life. And the most important thing being that football is not everything in your life, that you have to have an education and a solid backbone behind you. And if they can learn anything from my story, I'm a better man for it.
I'm here to see an NFL player, and I am very excited right now to watch this.
I've been a lifelong friend of Hap Broen, and Hap reached out to me, and we kind of had short notice. He asked if I was interested, and I said absolutely. And I met with Mike, and kind of talked about his story a little bit, and I think it kind of fit what a lot of coaches talk to their kids about: life lessons and your struggles and your rebounds, and so it worked out. And I was going to keep it just Sussex Tech, and decided to open it up to as many people as I could, and so we got a decent turnout tonight, so that's great.
Not only is today opening day for Little League, it is also the Rev It Up 5K, 10K run. Morelli's got the story.
The Rev It Up 5K and 10K Festival was once again a great success. Carl, the owner of Rev It Up, once again was proud to be the title sponsor.
Rev It Up. We've been around for almost 30 years now, and we've been servicing Sparta for a long time. But it's a great community to be in. I love being part of the PAL and this whole Rev It Up run nowadays. It's a good time. It's a good time. We encourage people to come out.
Another sponsor of the 5K and 10K was Therapeutics Unlimited.
Therapeutics Unlimited is an outpatient physical therapy facility here in Sparta. And me personally, I specialize in caring for our pediatric patients. So the youngest patient I had was 7 weeks old and up to through childhood. We also have therapists that treat adults, geriatrics, young adults with sports injuries. We really work towards customizing a treatment plan, very individualized for each person so they can return to their maximal level of function. Therapeutics Unlimited is in Sparta. We're part of the community. This race is a big part of Sparta and in the community. It just seemed perfect that we're the sponsor for it.
The winner of the 5K race, Karen Auterio of Hackettstown.
I've never won overall for men and women, so that was kind of cool. I have only won overall for women, so that was a first for me. I've just got off being sick, so I played it a little safe today, so I ran a little slower than normally I would. But there was some hills, but they weren't bad. The downhill was really nice. And then got a little confused on some parts of the course, but I found my way around and came through, and I was happy to see the finish line.
The winner of the 10K was Jeff Staple of Hardiston. Once again, a great event and day in Sparta.
We've got a new business here in Sparta. It's a spa called Spavia. Sounds fabulous to me. Let's meet the owner.
I worked in corporate America for 30 years and then was restructured out, looked around for opportunities, and one of them that came up was franchising. And I hired a franchise coach. We talked about what I wanted, and Spavia was one of those options, which I knew right away was what I wanted to do and bring here to Sparta. We're here for you. We've loved having you. Come in and see the spa and enjoy our services. Just keep spreading the word, and we appreciate all your support.
Well, it's been a wonderful day here at Station Park for the opening day of Little League. Hey, folks, don't forget May 14th is Sparta Day. You won't want to miss it. And tune in to our next Positively Sparta show in July. For Positively Sparta, I'm your host, Nikki Morville. Have a great night.